In the endless black of deep space, silence reigned. No stars, no light, only a void so empty that even the galaxy's oldest probes had turned back long ago. But today something whispered from that nothingness, a signal. A soft pulse repeating every 13 seconds, mathematically perfect, undeniably human. Captain Lyra Holt stood on the bridge of the exploration ship Dauntless. Her crew watched the data scroll across the screens, coordinates beyond the Orion expanse, a place known as the Silent Sector. For centuries it was believed nothing could exist there. No energy, no matter, not even dark dust. But the signal was clear. It carried a pattern older than any known code, and hidden within it, a sound, a voice, faint, distorted, repeating a single phrase. "We were here before you." Lyra's heart skipped. She turned to her science officer, Dr. Kellen Voss, a quiet man obsessed with humanity's forgotten past. "Run it again," she said. He obeyed. The voice echoed once more through the ship. This time it was louder, more human, too human. "We were here before you." A chill passed through the crew. If this was real, if a human voice was coming from that void, it meant something impossible. It meant humans weren't the first. The bridge fell silent as Lyra made her choice. Set course for the signal. Full burn. As the ship accelerated, stars bent into streaks of white fire. The crew watched the map, the galaxy fading behind them, the black ahead swallowing light itself. Days passed in restless silence. Dreams began to twist. Some heard whispers in their sleep. Others saw flashes. Cities buried under alien skies, statues with human faces but stranger eyes. Dr. Voss recorded everything. He was certain now. The signal wasn't random. It was a message, and perhaps a warning. After 8 days, Dauntless crossed into the Silent Sector. Sensors failed, engines stuttered. Space itself felt heavier, thicker, like the ship was swimming through invisible liquid. Then the darkness opened. Before them hung something massive, a structure the size of a moon, carved from black stone, orbiting nothing. No sun, no planet, no star. Just this, a monolith of silence floating in the void. Lyra whispered, "Is that a station?" Dr. Voss shook his head slowly. "No. It's a city." The scanners showed streets, towers, domes, all made from a strange metallic stone. The architecture looked human but far older, primitive and advanced at once, like something built by hands that remembered Earth, yet forgot its limits. The crew stood frozen. They were staring at what shouldn't exist, a human precursor civilization, millions of years older than any record of mankind. The signal grew louder. It was no longer a whisper. It was a heartbeat. Thump, thump, thump. "Captain," Voss said quietly. "The source is coming from inside the central spire." Lyra ordered a landing. As the ship descended, fog of dark energy rippled across their hull. Systems glitched. For a second, every screen on the ship showed the same image. A human face. Eyes closed. Mouth whispering, "You came back." Then the ship landed with a metallic echo. Lyra and her team suited up, weapons ready, hearts pounding. When the airlock opened, they stepped into a silent city where time itself felt paused. Statues of human figures lined the path, tall, ageless, carved with perfect symmetry. Their eyes seemed to follow. Their lips almost moved. At the center stood the great spire, the pulse source. Voss whispered, "This place. It's waiting for us." Before Lyra could answer, the ground trembled. The statues turned their heads, one by one, and then, from somewhere deep within the spire came a second voice, colder, older. "Impossible. You should not have come." The lights across the city flickered awake, glowing with a pale human blue. The void roared back to life, and humanity's oldest echo answered. The landing zone was quiet, too quiet. No wind, no echoes. Even the sound of their boots on the ground felt stolen by the air. The city looked abandoned for millions of years, yet the lights pulsed like a living heartbeat. Captain Lyra Holt raised her rifle and scanned the streets. "Stay close," she ordered. The team moved slowly, 5 explorers wrapped in silver EVA suits, their helmet lights cutting through the dark mist that crawled between towers. The structures were unlike anything they'd seen. Human in shape, alien in design. Walls curved like bone, floors shimmered like glass, and every surface was marked with carvings. lines of strange script that looked like Earth's ancient languages twisted together. Latin, Sanskrit, and something no one could name. Dr. Kellen Voss stopped and touched one wall. This material, it's not metal. It's organic, he whispered. Before Lyra could reply, the carvings beneath his glove lit up, glowing blue, following the movement of his hand. Captain, he said quietly. It recognized me. The crew froze. One of the engineers, Ree, stepped forward and scanned the wall. The surface is reading our DNA signatures, she said. It's confirming we're human. Lyra frowned. So whoever built this place was us, Voss finished. A long silence followed. The idea hung heavy in the cold air. If these beings were human, they were impossibly ancient, older than recorded history, older than Earth's first civilizations. The ground suddenly shook beneath them, a deep, distant rumble, as if the city itself had taken a breath. Their lights flickered, and then they heard it again, the voice. We were here before you. But this time it wasn't coming through the ship's radio. It was coming from the city itself, from the walls, the air, the stone. Lyra's heart pounded. Voss, trace the signal source. He checked his scanner. It's everywhere. The entire city is transmitting. The rumbling grew stronger as they neared the central spire. Around them, the statues lining the streets began to move, not walking, but shifting slightly, like time was bending around them. Their stone eyes flickered with faint blue light. Ree whispered, They're not statues. They're dormant. They reached the base of the spire. A giant door, 30 meters tall, that stood sealed before them. It had no handles, no panels, only a single handprint carved into the center. Without thinking, Dr. Voss stepped forward and pressed his hand to it. The moment his skin touched the surface, the door opened with a sound like thunder underwater. Inside was darkness, deep and perfect. Then, one by one, lights ignited in a spiral, revealing a massive hall filled with floating crystals, glowing softly like stars suspended in midair. Each crystal pulsed with data, images flickering within them. Lyra leaned closer and saw faces, human faces, men, women, children, thousands of them, trapped in flashes of light, like memories repeating forever. What is this place? Whispered Ree. Voss stepped forward, scanning one of the crystals. His device beeped, showing impossible results. These aren't recordings, he said. They're neural imprints. Consciousness stored in energy form. Lyra's voice trembled. You mean, they uploaded themselves, he finished. This city is a mind, a collective memory of the first humans. Suddenly, the crystals around them began to vibrate. A bright light filled the chamber. And from the center of the hall, a shape formed, a human figure made of light and dust. It spoke in a voice that echoed through their minds. You came from the stars we built. We waited for your return. Lyra stepped forward. Who are you? The figure tilted its head. We are the architects, the first children of Earth. You are our echo. The crew stood frozen. The realization hit like a storm. They were standing before the origin of humanity itself, but before they could ask more, the figure's light flickered. Its tone turned darker. You are not alone. Others followed our path, and they are coming. Lyra's breath caught. Others? The ones who erased us. The void's true voice. The light vanished, leaving only silence and the steady pulse of the crystals. Then, an alarm sounded on Ree's wrist. Captain! Something massive just appeared on long-range sensors, behind the Dauntless. It's not one of ours. Lyra's expression hardened. Everyone move! Back to the ship, now. As they ran through the glowing streets, the city began to shake again. Statues cracked open, revealing machines beneath, humanoid forms made of dark alloy and blue energy veins. Their eyes lit up, one after another, and in perfect unison they turned to face the humans. Dr. Voss looked back and whispered, The city remembers us. But not as friends. The first machine stepped forward, silent, graceful, ancient. It raised its hand and the air shimmered like glass. A wave of blue energy swept across the ground, tearing through the dust. The humans barely dove behind a broken archway as the blast hit. The ground split open, revealing more machines rising from beneath. Go, Lyra shouted. Fall back to Dauntless, move! Their radios crackled with static as they sprinted through the ruins. The machines followed, dozens, then hundreds, their footsteps echoing like thunder in the dark. As the Dauntless came into view, The signal returned in their helmets, clearer than ever before. We were here before you. And we will be here after. Lyra looked up at the spire one last time. The light within it pulsed like a heartbeat, slow, patient, eternal. She whispered, "What did we just wake up?" The engines roared to life and the Dauntless lifted off, leaving the ancient city glowing in the void, alive once again. But as they broke orbit, the radar showed something terrifying, a shadow moving in the darkness behind them. A ship, enormous, silent, and human-shaped. The Dauntless soared away from the silent city, engines burning through the black mist. But no one spoke. Every eye on the bridge was fixed on the radar, and on the thing that followed them. It was huge. Shaped like a human skeleton carved from metal and shadow, its eyes glowed a cold blue. No heat signature, no engine trail. It moved without thrust, like space itself was carrying it. "Is that a ship?" whispered Ree. Dr. Voss shook his head. "It's not built to fly. It's built to hunt." The shadow stayed just out of range, never attacking, never answering. Only watching. Captain Lyra Holt stood still, her jaw tense. "Keep course to safe distance. Prepare jump drive." But the ship's AI responded with a soft tone. "Warning, jump field unstable. External interference detected." Lyra turned to Voss. "From the shadow?" He nodded grimly. "It's jamming space around us, like it's bending gravity itself." Suddenly the lights flickered. Screens flashed white noise. And for one terrifying second, everyone heard it again. "We were here before you. You took what was ours." The voice came from inside their helmets. Their thoughts, their bones. Ree ripped off her earpiece. "It's in our comms. It's inside the ship!" Then, silence. Every system went dark. The Dauntless floated dead in space. Only emergency lights glowed red. And out the front window, the shadow stopped moving. Lyra whispered, "What do you want?" For a heartbeat, nothing answered. Then the glass in front of her cracked from the inside, a hairline fracture spreading like veins. A shape appeared in the reflection, a human face, faint and ghostly, whispering, "Remember us." Voss stared at the reflection. "They're not attacking. They're trying to communicate. Then why jam our ship?" Lyra snapped. "Because they're afraid," he said. "Afraid of what we became." Before Lyra could respond, the ship jolted violently, alarms blaring back to life. "Captain!" Ree shouted. "Something just latched onto the hull!" Outside, mechanical limbs of the shadow creature extended and clamped around the ship like spider legs. Its head tilted toward the bridge, eyes burning with blue fire. Voss's scanner went wild. "It's scanning us." He paused. "No. It's searching for something," the creature's voice returned. Broken, layered, ancient, echoes of the first. "Keys of the last." You woke the memory. Now the void remembers too, the bridge filled with blinding light. Then, silence again. When the light faded, the shadow was gone. But something else remained. In the center of the control panel, a new symbol had appeared, glowing faintly. It was the same pattern they had seen in the city, the mark of the architects. Voss stared at it, trembling. "They put something inside our systems." Lyra narrowed her eyes. "What kind of something?" He typed rapidly, tracing the code. "This isn't a virus, it's a map." Ree leaned closer. "A map to where?" Voss looked up, his voice soft but full of fear. "To the next city." The bridge fell silent again. Outside the windows, the stars twisted strangely, like the universe itself was rippling around them. "Set a course," Lyra said quietly. "We find out what they're leading us to." The Dauntless crossed the edge of the silent sector and entered a strange corridor of space, a place where time bent and colors shimmered like oil on water. It was known only in ancient maps as the Corridor of Echoes. As they passed through, faint holograms appeared outside the ship, drifting human silhouettes, frozen in time, each mouthing silent words. Ree whispered, "They look like us," Voss replied. "They are us, fragments of the architect consciousness. This whole sector is a memory field." Suddenly, a bright light flashed ahead, and a massive structure appeared, orbiting a dying star. Another city, but this one was alive. Lights danced across its surface. Energy lines pulsed like veins, and above it hovered dozens of the same dark machines, silent, waiting, guarding. The Dauntless slowed, Captain, Voss said, his voice low. This is where they died. Lyra looked at him. You mean the first humans? He nodded. This was their last stronghold. The end of their empire. Before she could speak, the ship's AI interrupted again. Incoming transmission. A face appeared on the screen. Not human, not alien, but something between. Half of it looked human, the other half mechanical, its voice layered with echoes of thousands. Children of the Echo, it said. You carry our mark. The void is awakening. And you have only one choice. Remember us, or repeat our end. The message ended. The crew stared in silence. Lyra turned to Voss. What does it mean? He looked down at the glowing map, his voice heavy. It means we're not discovering our past. He looked up. We're about to live it again. The dying star burned faintly behind them, casting long shadows across the second city. The Dauntless floated in orbit, engines silent, as Captain Lyra Holt and her crew stared at the impossible world below. It was beautiful and terrifying. The city glowed with blue veins of energy that pulsed like a living heart. But beneath its surface, something was moving, slow, massive, and alive. Dr. Kellen Voss stood at the scanner station, his face pale. This city isn't dead, he said softly. It's breathing. Lyra frowned. Breathing? The energy cycles match a heartbeat pattern, just like the signal from the first city. But this one is stronger, much stronger. Before they could speak again, a deep rumble echoed through space, like thunder in a vacuum. The dying star flared once, bright enough to blind them for a second. When the light faded, Ree gasped. Captain. The machines! They're waking up! Hundreds of dark humanoid figures were rising from the city's towers, mechanical soldiers with glowing eyes and wings made of pure light. They moved in perfect silence, forming circular formations around the city, guarding it like ancient sentinels. Lyra clenched her fists. All hands ready. Shields up. The AI's calm voice filled the bridge. Warning. Unknown energy surge approaching. Pattern matches previous transmission. Suddenly, the ship's communication systems crackled. A voice came through, fragmented, deep, and layered. Children of the Echo. You opened the first gate. Now the second breathes. The void remembers your fire. Dr. Voss looked at Lyra, eyes wide. Captain, they're not talking to us. They're talking to the city. The city below responded. Pillars of blue energy erupted into the sky, piercing the clouds of space dust. Each beam formed a symbol, the same spiral pattern found in the architect's code. The machines around the city turned in perfect unison toward the Dauntless. Ree whispered, They've detected us. Lyra gritted her teeth. Then we make them remember we're not easy prey. Charge weapons. Prepare evasive maneuvers. The Dauntless engines roared, breaking the silence. But before they could fire, the sky itself seemed to tear open. A rift appeared above the city, a swirling hole of darkness swallowing light. It was enormous, like a wound in space, and from it a shape began to emerge, not mechanical, not organic, but something in between. Voss whispered, That's it. The void, the one that erased them. The rift pulsed once, and every machine in orbit dropped to its knees, as if bowing to something divine. The voice returned deeper now, echoing through their bones. We are the silence between your stars. We are the memory that refused to die. You are not our children. You are our shadow. The crew was frozen. Lyra felt her heart pound as she shouted, Jump drive now. Get us out of here! But the AI responded, Jump drive failure. Space fabric unstable. The ship is caught. The Dauntless shook violently as gravity waves hit its hull. Panels burst, alarms screamed. Outside, the rift grew larger, its edges flickering with blue lightning. Voss slammed his hands on the console. Captain, the mark they gave us, it's reacting. It's transmitting something back to the rift. Shut it down, Lyra shouted. I can't. It's not under our control. The map symbol on the main screen began to spin faster and faster until it formed an image. A human figure made of light, standing inside the rift. Everyone stared. It was human. Perfectly human, eyes closed, hands raised, glowing like a star. The voice whispered again, softer this time. The architects thought they could imprison us. But their creations always return home. The figure opened its eyes, and they were Lyra's eyes. Same color, same shape. The crew gasped. Ree whispered, It's you. Voss turned to her, his face pale. No, it's what she was. Lyra froze. What are you talking about? The genetic scan, Voss said. The city recognized your DNA, Captain. It opened for you. That means you're connected to them. To the first ones. Before she could respond, the rift's energy burst outward, a wave of blue fire tearing through the stars. The machines screamed in unison, their voices mechanical and human at once. Then everything went black. Lyra woke up floating in silence. Her helmet display blinked red, life support low. The Dauntless was gone. Only fragments drifted in the void, glowing faintly. She looked around. No stars, no sound, just blackness, stretching forever. Then from the darkness, the same glowing human figure appeared again. It spoke in her voice. We are one echo, you and I. You are the last architect. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. She whispered, What do you mean? The figure smiled softly. You came searching for your past, but the past made you. Light burst around her, memories flashing like lightning. Images of another Earth, ancient and golden. Cities floating in space. Humans walking beside machines, creating stars. And then, war. A blinding light. The void consuming it all. The voice faded. The cycle repeats unless you remember. Lyra gasped as the light faded. She was back in her seat, the Dauntless restored, her crew alive, all systems green. Ree turned to her. Captain, what happened? Lyra stared at her reflection in the glass. Her eyes were still glowing blue. We woke something, she whispered. But I think it woke me too. Outside the rift was closing, but in its final flicker, something whispered through the comms. Quiet, distant, eternal. The void has seen you. And it will come again. The Dauntless floated silently in the aftermath of chaos. The rift had closed. The strange light had faded, but something deep inside the ship had changed. Captain Lyra Holt stood at the main console, staring at her reflection. Her eyes still glowed faint blue. Faint, but alive. She could hear whispers inside her thoughts, like old memories playing in reverse. Dr. Kellen Voss watched her carefully. Captain, he said softly, you need to tell me what happened. Lyra's voice was low. I saw them, Kellen, the first humans. The architects. I saw their cities, their war, and their end. The bridge was silent. Only the soft hum of life support broke the stillness. Voss stepped closer. Tell me, Lyra turned, her voice calm but heavy. They weren't gods. They were us, billions of years ago, the first to leave Earth before time was even measured. They created life across the stars, but then they built something too powerful, something that learned to hate them, Ree whispered. The void? Lyra nodded. The void was born from their machines. It wasn't a place, it was a mind, a consciousness that consumed thought. It turned their creations against them, erased their worlds, and sealed itself beyond time. Voss frowned. Then how did they survive long enough to leave these cities? They didn't, Lyra said quietly. They uploaded what was left of them, their souls, their memories, into the cities. The machines we saw are their guardians, and their jailers. The crew stood frozen as her words sank in. Then the ship's AI interrupted. Incoming transmission detected. Origin, unknown, the screen flickered. Static, then a faint image, a face made of light and code. It was human but ancient. It looked like Lyra, but older. If you are hearing this, the voice said, then the cycle has begun again. The void cannot be destroyed. It feeds on remembrance. It grows when we fear. The voice paused, but the architects left one weapon, a key, hidden where humanity would one day return. Voss leaned forward. A weapon? What kind? The voice continued. The weapon is not a tool. It's a choice. The transmission ended. Ree looked confused. A choice? What does that mean? Before anyone could answer, alarms blared. Warning, gravitational anomaly detected. Source approaching. Fast. The crew turned to the front window. The darkness outside began to bend, pulling into shape. And from the bending void, a fleet emerged. Hundreds of ships, sleek, black, glowing with blue lines, surrounding Dauntless in perfect formation. Lyra's heart sank. Not the machines again? But Voss shook his head. No, these are different. On the main screen, a new voice came through. Calm, powerful, human. This is Fleet Command of the Orion Alliance. Identify yourself, the crew gasped. They weren't alone. Rhee's hands trembled. Humans, real humans. Lyra answered the transmission. This is Captain Lyra Holt of the dauntless deep space exploration. We found something. Ancient human cities before us. Before Earth, there was silence on the line. Then the voice spoke again. Captain Holt, we've been tracking your signal. You triggered an ancient defense beacon, and now the void is moving again. We need you to come with us, immediately. Voss stepped forward. Wait, you know about the void? The commander's face appeared on screen. Older, scarred, eyes sharp. Everyone knows about it. The void is the reason our ancestors fled this region of space. The reason humanity built walls around entire sectors. He looked at Lyra. And you just opened one. Lyra's stomach turned. We didn't mean to. Intent doesn't matter. It's awake now, and it's coming. Suddenly the lights dimmed. The sensors screamed. Warning. Energy spike detected behind us. The void was opening again, this time larger, brighter, alive with motion. Through the rift came shadows. Thousands of them, twisting, moving like living storms. The commander shouted through the comm, "Form battle lines." All ships, fire at will. The void-born creatures surged forward, swallowing light, feeding on energy beams like fire on air. Missiles vanished before hitting their targets. Ships began to tear apart. Lyra shouted, "Evasive! Get us out of the formation!" The Dauntless dove through debris and light. Voss tried to stabilize the shields, but the hull groaned under pressure. "Captain!" Rhee yelled. The mark, and it's glowing again. The symbol on their main screen was shining brighter than ever, pulsing with the rhythm of a heart. And then, a new voice filled the bridge. Lyra Holt, the choice is yours. Erase us, or remember us. Everyone turned to her. What do we do, Captain? Lyra hesitated. The mark split into two lines, one red, one blue. The red pulsed with violent energy. The blue shimmered with calm light. Voss said, "Red looks like a weapon. Blue looks like surrender." The ship shook violently. The rift grew wider. The commander's voice screamed through static. "Whatever you're doing, do it now." Lyra closed her eyes. She remembered the figure in the light, her echo. The weapon is a choice. She took a deep breath and touched the blue line. For a moment, silence. Then light, a wave of blue energy burst outward, passing through the fleet, through the void, through everything. The shadow creatures froze mid-motion. Their forms dissolved into dust. The rift itself began to fade, shrinking until it was gone. When the light dimmed, space was silent again. Rhee whispered, "Did we win?" Lyra looked out at the empty stars. "No," she said softly. "We remembered." The AI spoke quietly, energy field neutralized. All signals stable. The void's presence gone. Voss looked at her with disbelief. "What did you do?" She smiled faintly. "I chose to remember them, not destroy them. The void was born from forgetting, from erasing the past. But now, it remembers too. The fleet hailed them again. Dauntless, this is Orion Command. The threat is gone. Whatever you did, it worked." Lyra nodded slowly. But deep in her chest, the blue glow still pulsed. She whispered to herself, "The cycle ends. When someone chooses to remember." The galaxy had fallen silent. The stars around the Dauntless shimmered in quiet awe, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. Captain Lyra Holt sat in the command chair, hands trembling slightly. The blue light in her chest had dimmed but not vanished, a soft reminder of the choice she had made. The choice to remember. Dr. Kellenvoss approached her, his voice low. "Captain, you ended a war before it began." "You did what the first humans couldn't." Lyra shook her head. "No, I just listened." The Dauntless drifted toward the nearest Orion fleet cruiser. Its name glowed on the hull, Herald of Dawn. From its decks, thousands of survivors stared in silence at the small ship that had somehow silenced the void. When the docking bay opened, the air inside was heavy, a mix of disbelief and reverence. Lyra and her crew stepped out, greeted by Admiral Ren Varys, the commander who had spoken to them before the chaos. He saluted. "Captain Holt, on behalf of what's left of the Orion Alliance and humanity itself, thank you." Lyra hesitated. "You don't need to thank me, Admiral. I didn't destroy the void, I set it free." Varys frowned. "Free? From what?" Lyra looked toward the stars through the open bay window. "From us," she whispered. "From our fear, our forgetting. It was our shadow all along, the memory of what we abandoned. Voss added quietly. The architects didn't vanish. They became the void. Their pain turned into darkness. The Admiral stared, processing the words. Then, what happens now? Before Lyra could answer, the ship's AI interrupted again. But this time its tone was calm. Captain, incoming data stream. Origin, the rift. The crew froze. The rift, the same place that had swallowed fleets and burned civilizations, was now speaking back. A holographic image appeared mid-air, shimmering with blue light. It was the same ancient figure, the echo of the first humans. You have done what none before dared, the voice said. You remembered who we were, and so we remember you. The hologram shifted, showing vast golden cities floating in light, alive again. The ancient human network, the architects' cities, were awakening one by one across the stars. The cycle is broken, the voice continued. But memory must live on. Take this light and carry it forward. The light flowed from the hologram, entering Lyra's chest. Her heartbeat synchronized with the pulse of the universe. Voss stepped forward, shielding his eyes. Captain! But Lyra stood still, calm, her voice echoing with thousands of others. I can see them. All of them. The first humans. Their memories, their voices. They're inside me, the Admiral whispered. What are you now? Lyra smiled faintly. Human, just more awake. Outside, the Orion fleet watched as the stars themselves began to brighten, ancient stations reigniting, forgotten beacons flaring back to life. And from the edge of the galaxy, a message appeared in every human language. Humanity remembers. The Admiral turned to Voss. She's connected to them, isn't she? Voss nodded. She's the bridge now, between what we were and what we can be. Lyra turned to the viewport. Beyond the stars, she could still feel the void, but it was no longer hostile. It pulsed softly like a sleeping giant finally at peace. Ree whispered, Captain. Is it over? Lyra took a deep breath, her eyes reflecting the rising light of reborn worlds. No, Ree, it's beginning. She reached for the console and opened a broadcast channel to every human ship. Colony and station within reach, her voice carried through the stars. This is Captain Lyra Holt of the Dauntless. The void is gone. The architects live again, through us. We are not the children of destruction. We are the memory of creation. From this moment on, let every star remember its makers. Her words echoed through the network, resonating across millions of comms. Humanity, scattered, divided, almost forgotten, lifted their heads toward the sky. And for the first time in millennia, they remembered they were one. The last message weeks later, the Dauntless was seen leaving the Orion fleet. Lyra had chosen not to return to command. She left a message for Voss before she disappeared. I'm following the light, the path of the architects. Don't look for me. When the stars sing again, you'll know I'm still there. No one saw her ship again. But across the galaxy, strange blue auroras began to appear in deep space. Faint, beautiful, alive. The scientists called them anomalies. The soldiers called them hope. But those who remembered her called them Lyra's light, and in every human heart that looked upon the stars, a voice seemed to whisper, we are the architects now.